Welcome to Belief Busters podcast, where we change the world one belief at a time. I'm your host, Reverend Cherie Taylor Jones, and I'm really glad that you could join us on the journey. Welcome to Belief Busters. On this podcast, we get to have a juicy conversation with a love coach, Bonita. She's here today with us, and Bonita helps strong, accomplished women who have succeeded in every area of life except love. And she's here to help women find and keep healthy, lasting love. Bonita is a true believer that all women deserve to live a life they love with the love of their life. And Bonita specializes in teaching women around the globe how to get off the dating spinning cycle, stop destructive relationship patterns, step into complete self-worth and acceptance, and from that place, find an amazing partner to share the rest of their life with. Welcome, Bonita.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that introduction.
It's really good to have you. And you know what I love about doing this work is I get to talk to and have conversations with amazing beings from around the globe. What do you think are the false beliefs that stop women from having these lasting, amazing relationships?
Wow, there are so many, but I know I actually just completed a workshop last week, and we broke up into little groups, and I had loads of single women there, and they came back, and the biggest feedback was fear of rejection, right? And if you look at that at a deeper level, it's because there's a belief that I'm not good enough, or I'm too much, or there's something about me that won't be accepted. And I always say to people, like women always think, yeah, I need to do online dating and sign up with a matchmaker and speed date. Like, I need to get out there and meet him. But more often than not, the problem isn't meeting more men, it's changing the belief. Because when you have that belief of not being good enough, you self-sabotage. And when you're really afraid of rejection, you push people away because it's just too big, letting them in and possibly being hurt. That's too much of a risk. So you close off, you don't let them in, and then they leave, right? So then it becomes a self-fulfilling
prophecy. Yes.
And so I help women to get out of that cycle, and just to step into complete worthiness and self-love and acceptance, and to know when you step into your own worth and know your worth and value, that's when others can see it as well.
That's powerful. And how do you help women to really start to look at these beliefs that are no longer really serving them, and now, assessing them, releasing them, and then creating new beliefs that will serve them?
Yes, so my process is called identify, release, replace. We identify through journaling. We ask specific questions, and then we just write. We write whatever comes to mind, whatever we're thinking or feeling. We just journal on a couple of pages, and in that you'll see overarching beliefs come out. Like there'll be 3 or 4 or 5, but in the end, there's always an overarching belief or two, and it's usually some version of not being worthy, not being good enough, or rejection. And then we go through like a really 2-week intense process of releasing. And a lot of times, or most of the times, all of the times, a belief is there based on an event that happened in your life. So there's a certain event that caused that belief to be formed, and then since then your brain has been searching for proof to keep on sort of proving that belief to you. So we need to go find that core event. When was the first time I felt that way? And what's quite interesting is sometimes it's not an event, then it's not a belief, but it's rather a blueprint, right?
Say more about that. Yeah.
It's always been that way. Like, for instance, my parents aren't emotionally available to me. Well, when was the first time you felt that way? Well, it's always been that way since birth, right? So it's also a belief, but it's not something based on an event because it's just always been that way. So that
Yes.
requires a little bit extra work. But then I make use of the services of a psychotherapist who helps me. And she does one-on-one sessions with my clients, and she helps them to release that. Because remember, when we step into transformation, we affect change at a cognitive level, so understanding the why. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is the belief, this is the why, that's the event that led to it. Okay, then we need to look at it at a subconscious level, right? And we need to release it at that level. And then with the work that I do, we go one level deeper, and we need to release it at an emotional level, which is an energetic or a heart level. You have to let go of the energy behind it, right?
Yeah.
Because what we do is we don't want to feel it, and we want to ignore it, and we keep it bottled up. And that causes discomfort, it causes fear, it causes sickness. We have to release it. So the type of therapy we use, we don't use talk therapy. She uses emotional freedom release therapy, which is experiential. It includes somatics, it includes movement of the body. But my clients just love it. They step into like amazing change.
Wonderful. So it sounds like that part of that process is looking at the feelings within the body where the energy kind of lodges, and you have that kind of stuckness there. Is that correct?
Yes. And we have to release that as well. So I do exercises where cognitively we create like a belief board, and we know these beliefs aren't true, and we find reasons, and that's all the cognitive stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
then we have to go subconsciously, which means we need to do it with repetition, and then we need to release the energy behind it. And all those three together make it quite a quick process, right? It's a 2-week process. It's powerful.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing that it can be such a quick turnaround in that 2 weeks. And I like that you're hitting, the energetic, the emotional, the psychological, the cognitive levels as you work through those beliefs. So if you're talking to listeners out there that are just like, yeah, I've been doing this. I've tried therapy. I've tried some other things, and no matter what I do, I just keep getting these losers in my life. Any tips or suggestions there?
Yes. Oh, they're all different types of reasons for that. But here's the thing. We attract what we are most of the times. We attract what we believe in. We attract what we feel. Whatever's going on in our hearts and in our minds, we draw to us because we speak it. So again, that goes back to beliefs. It goes back to a programming. And I have a process that I take women through that I call unlocking lasting love without relying on online dating, right? And it's all the internal work. There's a block, and it's a subconscious block that's sort of causing you to only see all the losers and to only see them as potential. There's no way that you could go through life. I had a discussion with a client years ago. There's no way you can go through life for 10 years, go on 10 dates a month, and only meet losers, right?
Yes.
What they're interested in are the losers, and that's because there's subconscious programming going on. But the nice guys, you're not attracted to.
Yes.
So we need to look at that. And what we need to do is physically rewire the brain. So we need to change the composition of the brain, create new neural pathways, and learn a new way of stepping into love and chemistry. Because when I go on a first date and it just feels right, and we finish each other's sentences, it's just, I can't explain it. That's a red flag, right? Because that's you repeating past
Yes.
conscious patterns, and your subconscious mind is playing tricks on you, and it's saying, oh, this feels familiar, I want to be here. This feels comfortable because we like familiarity. But all you're doing is repeating old patterns with the same people. And I always say it's like the same men with a different face.
Yes.
So we have to change that before we start dating. Otherwise, it's just a fruitless exercise and we'll get to the same end result over and over again.
Oh, that's so powerful. Bonita, that just really hits it, I mean, right on the head about, when we come into this world, we're just little sponges, and then we get all this programming that happens. And what you're talking about is reprogramming us, reprogramming women for their highest good, to really get clear on who they are at a cellular, divine, human level, and then creating this match, this connection from the essence of our truth and not indoctrination.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Yes, that is so powerful. It's such a powerful way of saying it. And I always say to ladies, like a lot of time people are in shame about the state of their love life. And I always say, it's not your fault for being here, right? When we are like little sponges and we pick up things, we don't have an adult brain that can rationalize what's happening to us and why it's happening to us. So we do the best with what we have at that point. But it is your responsibility to change it.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Absolutely. When we're kids, we're surviving. I mean, it's a biological function to survive, right? And to get that nurturing from our families and tick those boxes. And then when we grow up and we realize that some of that programming is unhealthy for us, absolutely, it's now ours to say, what kind of life do I want? Do I want this serial dating and unhappiness? Or do I want a lasting partnership, with someone who sees me for who and what I am, that I'm this magnificent jewel and that they can't wait to spend time with me? That's a different type of relationship, isn't it?
Definitely, because it's not about just being in any relationship, right? It's about being in a healthy, lasting relationship. And I feel strongly that our school systems are failing us,
Oh,
not
yes.
covering this as a really important subject, because the state of your love life affects every other area of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It affects the way you show up to work. It affects whether you take care of your body. It affects whether you have energy. It affects your stress levels. Everything is affected by it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you give people permission? How do you give women permission to start doing this work, to start saying yes to having a fulfilling life?
That's the thing, is you need to take action and say, I want this. You need to be committed, because it isn't necessarily easy work. Sometimes it's really hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need to look at ourselves from an angle that's so uncomfortable. And we need to go into the past that, or sometimes things that we've been running from for
Yes.
years.
Yes.
So it takes 100% commitment. And I've learned through the years, it's not anything I can convince someone to do, right? It's something you step into and you go, you know what? Enough is enough. I've had enough of these bad relationships, of the pain, the heartache,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing. I've had enough. I'm drawing a line in the sand. This is it. I'm going to fix it. And usually that's accompanied by a really bad breakup or relationship, or just like having enough of doing life alone and being tired.
Yes.
Being, a lot of times it's a big event that happens. Like, I was sick. I was in hospital for 3 weeks and there was no one there for me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
or COVID even. I'm finding I'm very busy, right? Because people are like, my life has come to a standstill. And I actually realize now how I don't have much else besides my work going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it needs to be something that you want to be all in and you really want, and it needs to be like your number one priority. And then the way, I help them to step into it is, you know, self-love and self-acceptance is a very big part of the work that I do. Because we need to stop. We have this little voice that's criticizing me, and it's based on my beliefs and, that inner child that's been wounded. And we need to stop the negative talk. We need to stop the self-criticism.
Yes.
Okay, that's one of it, because that's causing us a lot of internal stress and damage. The rest of the world doesn't know about it. And sometimes we don't even know we're doing it.
It's so automatic, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, yes. So that's one of the bigger things, is to become your own best friend, because you will never let yourself down. Other people will let you down. And to stop looking for that acceptance and support elsewhere, and to start giving that to yourself from within.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Um, I just find that this topic is really poignant and meaningful. I think women, especially in our society today, have bought into the belief that they don't need a partner. We don't need a man to be successful, right? And what I hear you saying is that it's really okay to want that, to say that we deserve to have someone in our life to support us, to love us, to be there when things are really great and when things are not. And so what I hear is almost that we need to give women permission to say yes to deserving that, to wanting that there is no shame in saying that you want to have a partner in your life. We've somehow been conditioned lately to be very career and goal oriented at the demise of the fullness of being in a relationship, in a loving relationship. So can you speak a little to that, Bonita?
Definitely. So, I mean, here's what happens, and I wouldn't say this is everyone, but this is the type of, high achieving woman that I work with. We don't need a partner. We don't, right? But if we're really honest with ourselves, we want one. Okay.
Mm.
What happens, because we feel like we have control over our work, our career, our studies, our hobbies, right? So we put everything into that, because there we can thrive. And we feel like we don't have control over someone else. And especially when we've been let down and hurt so many times. So what does society do is it rewards us for being independent, for being strong. Oh, look, I bought my house alone. I have this beautiful home. I go traveling. I have this great career, and people look up to us. And then we think, okay, well, that's what society wants from me. So I'm going to step into this and own it. And it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to show everyone that I'm actually okay, and that I've designed my life this way. Even though when you're alone, it depends on whether you're numbing out and keeping busy 16, 18 hours a day, or, when you take the time to listen to yourself. And I remember for me, the hardest was a Sunday morning, like waking up and just no one being there. And
Mm.
so what would I do? I would go on expensive shopping sprees, and I'd shop the whole Sunday, right?
Yes.
And it would cost me a lot of money, but at least I didn't sit at home alone feeling lonely. So we fill that void with other things, but we need to
Mm-hmm.
stop filling that void and to get honest with myself, because we use it as a coping mechanism.
Yes.
work, shopping, sometimes eating,
Eating.
drinking, you know.
Yes.
We use those as coping mechanisms so we don't have to deal with the real feelings. And, we weren't designed to do life alone. Okay? God created man and woman. We were designed to work in unity, as in a team, right? Where there's support, where we can sometimes sit back, even though we can have control and run a household. It's, for me, the best thing is emotionally coming home to my husband and just sort of allowing him to step up, right, and take
Yes.
control. And because I've had a hard day at work, um, and I know that as women, we only reach our fullest potential in a supportive, loving relationship. The other thing that
Yes.
happens is that women give themselves two options. I'm either single and happy, or I'm in a bad relationship and I'm not doing
Mm,
right, because that's what they had, a bad relationship and single and happy. When there's that third option that we don't even consider because we've never experienced a healthy relationship. And the third option is entirely possible if you commit to it, like you commit to your career and your business.
yes. Yeah. Um, like in my experience, I was trained on you don't need a man. You do your own thing, but buy your own house, pay for your own vacations, just go and do. And um, I'm married to my husband now 15 years. I have to calculate every time. And um, just the ability to know I'm not in it alone,
Mm,
someone in my corner. I've
mm,
done and explored so much more in an authentic way in these last 15 years and done some really adventurous things because I knew someone had my back,
yes.
and it didn't take away from who I am as this amazing career-oriented, driven woman. And, I really support the work that you're doing, Bonita, because we can have it all and
Yes.
it's acceptable to have it all. And here's the thing, we really deserve to have it all.
Yes.
So, are there any final thoughts that you'd like to give our listeners before I tell them, before you tell them how to get in contact with you?
Yes, I think often we think we're in this alone, right? And we think that no one's going through this. I'm the only one. And a very big part of the work that I do is there's a group component, right, with ladies from all over the world. And they get together once a week for 2 hours, and there's coaching and there's questions, and we're in breakaway rooms. And it's in that women step into, oh, wow, I'm not alone in this. There are other people going, because we think there's something wrong with me. I can't figure,
Yes.
I'm alone. And what happens because of that is we isolate and we self-preserve and we push people further and further away. So I want to just say that start connecting with people. Start reaching out and just connect with people, because we stop using that part of the brain that forms connection when we've been hurt, and we try and protect ourselves, and we self-isolate and we self-preserve, and that's what's keeping you single. So stop doing that, right, and start creating connections.
Thank you. So, what do you really do? How do people connect with you? Why should they connect with you? And just give us your details, please.
Yes, so I mean, I take women through an entire process of becoming the most optimized version of themselves, stepping into vulnerability, authenticity, femininity, breaking free from beliefs, past destructive relationship patterns. And then, once you've found that inner love and acceptance and you've become what I call the high value woman, then I take you through a dating process, right? Creating abundance in your love life, making it easy, screening and just sort of stepping into complete abundance and meeting quality men. So, I mean, anyone can find me on my website. It's lovecoachbonita.com. On the homepage of the website, there's a challenge that I run every couple of months, and it's called Unlocking Lasting Love Without Relying on Online Dating. And it's a free 5-day challenge.
Ooh.
I guarantee a breakthrough every single day for those 5 days. The content is amazing. The ladies absolutely love it. I have like 400 plus people registered for the last event. So
Wow.
it is amazing. And people are telling people about it. So please come and join and just, get to the bottom of why you haven't found lasting love and get some breakthroughs.
Brilliant. This has been such a juicy conversation, Bonita. I've really enjoyed having you on our show. So, listeners, if I was single, I'd be talking to Bonita. So, I invite you and encourage you to step into your allness, to have what exactly you want, to thrive, to be in a loving relationship with someone who sees the magnificence that you are. Join us next time on Belief Busters. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of belief systems. I hope this gives you permission to change your beliefs and subsequently the world. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast and leave a review wherever you listen. You can reach me at info@preachitsister.com. I've also written a book, Turning Your Why into Why Not, that gives you practical resources and steps that you can take to continue on the journey of exploring what your belief systems are. I look forward to seeing you next time on Belief Busters Podcast. See you on the flip side.